that weekend.
I'd give it up in a
off.
second. I'll give the money. I don't give a fuck about the money.
But the thing is if you're barely getting by, if you're kind of like scratching and scraping, and you got to like pick and choose, like, is this advancing my career? Is this fucking me up? Is me not chasing my career going to be a detriment to my family? Because now we're going to have a financial crisis.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's like, just like you were talking about, like people start making money and becoming famous, they're terrified it's all going to go away. There's also when you're barely getting by, you realize, or you're getting by, but just like you're above water, but you realize one catastrophic thing and you're under and you're fucked. And then the house gets repossessed. And then you're staying with your mom. Your kids are together in one room.
It's a real fear.
If you got a mom, you got a mom,
right?
What if you're in a shelter? What if, what the fuck, man? So it's like you have this intense desire to be a provider, and you know that you have to put in the work. You have to be successful. Like, it made me way more successful. Like being responsible for little people and a wife and just the family thing, like being responsible for stuff.
Yeah.
And then now I'm responsible for like employees. I can't just quit.
Yeah.
What if I just quit?
Right.
I have this whole club now, the podcast. What the fuck would Jamie do if I wasn't here?
He'd be golf so
bored.
Lot.
He'd be so bored. He'd get bored. He'd miss it.
Of course he would.
He'd be Googling in the air out of nowhere with one hand.
It's a real thing. It's a real transition when you have kids to, and it's a real pressure.
Well, it's a real.
Yeah.
Life is finite. You have a finite time. You have a finite amount of time that's available to you living as an organism on Earth. That's a fact. And I am already more than halfway through that. I'm halfway towards the end. And you have to maximize your time to the benefit of both yourself and everybody else around you. That's what you got to do. You got to be as good a friend as you could be. You got to be as good a husband and as good of a father and as good of an employer, as good of an employee, as good of a neighbor. You got to be the best you could be at all these different things. Just do your best to have the most positive impact on the people around you. You're going to fuck up. Everybody fucks up. We're humans. Correct that as much as you can. Express yourself as best as you can.
Yeah.
Be as nice as you can.
Yeah.
Try to facilitate and try to encourage fun and happiness and love. And that's possible. It's possible in the community of people that you find yourself in. And if you can't, you need to find a better community.
Yeah. Or you got to be a better person.
You got to be a better person. Yeah. And you got to. That's all. You have to be a better person to attract a better community. Whenever I see someone single and they're like, "Oh, I can't find a person." Like, what do you have to offer? Like, who are you? Like, are you a person that someone would gravitate towards? Are you particularly kind? Are you particularly friendly and generous? Like, what is it about you that you think you should have someone that makes your life better? Because you probably ruined their life. You're fucking dour. You complain all the time. You're so lazy.
It's hard to say that to somebody, but when you know it's true, yeah, you're like,
let's go.
Yeah, look at you, dude. The reason why you're struggling is because of you.
And also, you're stuck because you're struggling. You're probably tired all the time because you're depressed. So it's very difficult to gather up the energy to make change, to make like a radical change in your life, to say, today I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and I'm going to go to that fucking yoga class. And I'm always saying, I'm going to get to that 6:30 yoga, and then the alarm goes off. You're like, fuck that. I don't really have to get up till 8. And I'm just going back to sleep. Or just go to that yoga class. And then 8 o'clock rolls around and you're leaving. You're leaving the yoga studio. You got your rolled up mat. You're with those other people that all fucking did it. Everybody did it. We fucking did it. We got up early. We did the 90-minute class. And now I'm going to go to work. And now I got some momentum. But it's hard to just make that first step. And that's one tiny little step in this gigantic journey of self-improvement. And if you don't take those steps at all, if you're that fucking dude that just gets at home and just medicated, watching Netflix, Uber Eats, wake up, do it all over again, you're going to feel like shit.
Well, I think it's hard for people to take the first step, I think, because a big part of depression is feeling like it's going to last forever. It's kind of the delusion that that feeling pitches you.
Yeah.
It's a weird mindset where everything is poisoned. Every thought you have is poisoned with this negativity, and you start to actually think back at your life and think that it was all that way when it wasn't. And
it's hard to remember the good times.
And when you're in a dark place, I think the thing to remember is that it doesn't like the suicide. Suicide comes in your brain as like an escape hatch. It's like your fight or flight thing going like, this is an escape. It's trying to help.
Right.
It's like when your immune system is overactive.
Yeah.
It's like your fight or flight is overactive. So you have to remember that and just getting help. People sometimes just don't get help because of shame or whatever, but it always ends. The bad always ends if you put the work in and remember that it doesn't last forever and that your thoughts are not there. It's a delusion you're in right now. It's not real. Like your brain is playing a trick on you. It's not a reflection of reality. It's a reflection of the way you feel, and the way you feel is fucked up right now, and that's changeable.
Yeah.
But it's hard to realize that when you're in it, and that's why people struggle with it, and they make unfortunate decisions, and some people take their lives and stuff like that. It's because they mistake it for something that's unchangeable, that's ever present, because that's the way it feels. But feelings are not facts. Ask Ben Shapiro.
He seems to get in his feelings a lot.
Yeah. Well, it depends on if Israel comes up. He's a lot of feelings.
Oh boy, he's all in.
He's all in on feelings.